Hi guys, Stacy here, We Grow Again. I'm outside of my garden and I want to give you guys some tips on how to transplant your plants outside. When we bring them home from the store, it can be so tough. Sometimes we buy too many or we just don't know what we're doing with that plant. We don't know the care on it. So, I want to do this video for first-time gardeners and just give you some tips on what you can do to make this a lot easier on you. When I first started gardening, let me tell you, I couldn't grow anything. I was killing everything I was buying, and that was because I was not paying attention to where they were in the store. Inside plants in the store are going to have to be acclimated to outside if that's where you're going to keep them. So when you first bring plants home from the store, make sure that you're noticing where they are. If they're inside in the store, then you're really going to have to acclimate them quite a bit. You're going to have to acclimate them in your lanai first, from the inside, a couple of hours each day, just increase that. And acclimation should take about a week at a time. So then you know your plants are okay, they're not going to burn outside. And I want to flip you around and just show you how I transplant my seedlings when they get this big. You cannot really, us gardeners say this big because we can't really put a time on that seedling. Sometimes seedlings take 2 weeks to pop up. Sometimes they take 4 weeks to pop up. So, it's when they get about 2 or 3 sets of true leaves on them. And I'm going to flip you around and show you a couple that I'm transplanting, the soil I switched to, and just what I'm using for nutrients to get my cucumbers and stuff that I'm doing. And I do this transplant method for everything that I'm growing. So I'm going to turn you around and show you what's going on. Okay guys, so I got my Epsom salt, as you can see right here, ready to go. I was using Bonnie Nutrients. This is what I was using, what you've been seeing. Now I went to the store and switched to this. And this is because this is 5 pounds of all-purpose plant food. Now this supports through the veg cycle and through the bloom cycle. So you don't have to worry about, is my plant lacking calcium or sulfur or iron? This is pretty much going to have everything you need in it for your veggies, herbs, and flowering plants. So it's just an all-purpose fertilizer. And I use it for everything, houseplants, trees, shrubs. And I went back to it because it's just cheaper than this. This I bought a good 5 years ago, and it was $12 5 years ago. So now it's probably almost 20, and it works, but I noticed that I still have to add extra nutrients and stuff during the flowering stage. So I'm going to give this a go. So far, so good. I treated with this once already a few days ago on my cucumbers here. And check them out. They're not getting blossom rot anymore. They were rotting out because of the heat. It's too hot here right now. Cucumbers are supposed to, grow in the heat and stuff like that. But in Florida right now, we're at 93 degrees every day. The humidity's up at 70%. But I found a happy medium. You can tell they're no longer rotting off on me. They're getting nice and firm. They're not yellow. That's my little cucumber, my heirloom cucumber. I'm so happy to see that, guys. And this just goes for anything you're transplanting. You can see I got some more cukies right down there, and you can see that they're growing. They're getting a lot bigger. They're not rotting off like they were, turning yellow and just yucky. So I want to show you the happy medium I found on them. This way you can do this too. And it's really not too tough, guys. You can see she's pushing. I got one here, one down there, and one here. I just have them all over. There's another one here. She's pollinating like crazy, and that's why I love heirloom cucumbers, because they produce like wildfire. They're nuts. So what I do, okay, when I plant them from seed, I either sow them directly in my soil, and I plant all my seeds in styrofoam cups, or in little containers like this. I like the styrofoam cups just because they're easy to handle, they're compact. I can put tons of styrofoam cups in a container and transfer it wherever I need to. And it also creates a really good root system. You can see this plant is beautiful. This is a little pea plant. I believe these are Alaska peas. They're either Alaska peas or Marvel peas. I'm growing the 2 kinds and I didn't label them. But these are ready to be transplanted. These I just have not. These were supposed to be transplanted when they were about that big. when they get 2 or 3 sets of true leaves on them, not the very first set that pops up, those aren't true leaves. These second sets and third sets are true leaves, and you want about a good 3 or 4 of them before you transplant. You know, this pepper right here, this is too small. This is the first set, which is not a true leaf. All plants pop out a first set, and then the second set is your true set. That's what your leaves are really going to look like on your plant. And these are just too small to transplant. I just wanted to show you that. You shouldn't be doing anything at this point. Leave them in here. They're in a nice Coco Loco potting soil mixture with some eggshells. I'm going to show you real quick how to do that. That's why I got my eggshells here. I have a Ninja pulsifier, and just pulsify them. Boil your eggshells, let them dry out for a good 6, 7 days, even 8 days. And you can see how powdery it is, and that's what you want. You want to pulsify them until they're powdered. Now, you do not want to use raw eggshells, guys. Please don't put raw eggshells in your garden or touch them because of salmonella. You can transfer diseases into your garden. So make sure you cook and boil those eggshells before you pulsify them and throw them in your garden. It's so important. And I switched to this potting soil. It's a jungle growth potting soil, and it's used by master gardeners and universities, and it helps give vibrant blooms. And when I was checking out at Lowe's, the people at the register there really recommended this when I was leaving. They said, you are going to be so happy with this soil. I told them I was using the Coco Loco, and it is expensive, but it's so worth it. You know, Coco Loco actually is going down in price. You can find it at certain nurseries for cheap. I have some over here. I'll show you real quick. That's my Coco Loco. That's what I've been using for all my garden. And it works. It works. It's great. It has organic compost in it. It's just a great potting soil, but I wanted something else I can mix with that. So I'm not using just an $18 soil to fill up one whole tote like this, you know, or like this. I transplanted my blackberry yesterday with my fiance because you can tell it's starting to yellow. It was getting choked out, and it's just getting black spot and stuff on it. So I really have to tend to her. I got to cut all these dead leaves off, and she'll be okay. She was getting really choked out in her pot, so I transplanted her. And what you want to do, guys, you want to transplant when they get at least this big, you know. Shorter than this, half the size of this is fine for peas. And what you want to do is fill your pot up. You want to take your eggshells first. Let me do this so I don't confuse you guys, because I'm confusing myself. In this soil, I've never used this soil before, so we're going to test it and see how it does. It looks pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it, so we'll see. And they say a lot of people use it, but we will see. It was basically no more on the shelf, so has to be good, right? And I'm not going to put too much in here, guys, just because I'm one-handed and I want to kind of show you what to do here, how to transplant, how I put my eggshells in there. So, you know what? I'm going to sit you down. Sit you down right here so I can explain some things to you and what I do during the cucumber flowering stage. There you go. It's a little better for you guys. And what you want to do is just take your soil mixture, put it in your bucket, you know, fill it up. It's been so hot out here, guys, that I'm so happy I'm in the shade right now. It's early in the morning. That's why I'm coming out here. I love to garden. I love to be in my garden. I love touching soil. I love seeing plants grow, especially my cucumbers and produce that I get to pick off my plants every time. It's just so satisfying, guys, growing your own stuff. And I know it can be difficult, and that's why I'm trying to show you guys the easiest way possible. So for the first starting of transplanting, you want to wait, like I said, till they get this big. Get your soil mixture ready in a tub like this, because you're going to want to mix your eggshells. Now, in a tub like this, I put, I don't know, I'd say about 3 eggshells, and I ground up about 6, so we'll use half. And then I'm going to put just a little sprinkle of magnesium, and that's going to dissolve whenever you put your water in there. And then I'm going to mix it up. And then this is going to give me my nutrients and stuff. Now, this soil feeds for up to 4 months. So, you know, when it says it feeds and stuff, it's feeding it, but it's not giving it what it really needs. So you're going to have to still add some nutrients in there. But I like the feeding one. You know, I try to garden all organically, but it's so tough to find the right nutrients your plants need. And there's a lot of things to do with organic gardening, a lot of natural things you got to add. So I go half and half. I do half organic gardening and half not organic gardening. When I get toward my pushing out produce stage, I try to stay on the organic side and just add the eggshells and the magnesium and just natural things for my plants. Now let me see if I can figure this out here, how to do this for you. You want to take, now a pea like this and a cup like this, you're going to want to transplant in something bigger. So you don't want to put it into something like this, guys. That's kind of the same size, and it's just going to grow out too fast. So since I'm not transplanting my peas outside because it's just too hot out still, we still got 90-degree weather, and it's just crazy. So I'm going to go into something a little big like this so it can stay in this until I'm ready to put it outside. And you know, you can keep a pepper in this till it's flowering, really. I mean, they come from this in the store, in this pot. So what you want to do is fill your pot up. Just fill it up halfway, about 3/4 of the way, because you're going to backfill it with the rest of the soil. You know, you want to make sure you're transplanting and getting this whole cup flipped upside down and all this soil in here and nutrients that we've been giving it. You want it in that pot. So just give it a flip. Now you want to make sure you're watering your soil, your plants, before you transplant. Give them a good soak. You can see that's a nice root ball. That's what you should have. And it's starting to twine. So what you want to do to teach it not to do that is just break it up a little bit like that. Don't damage things too much because peas are super, super sensitive. Their stems are super sensitive, and I've killed so many peas by just mishandling them, being rough. So you got to be really, really ginger with peas, guys. Make sure you don't break this little stem that they're on, and then just backfill it like this. You know, press that soil in there. Give it a good firm push, but not too firm. You don't want to break those roots, but you want to snuggle it in. And then once you're done, that's it, guys. I only put that much soil in it. I keep about 1 inch from the top so I can add some soil and some eggshells if I need to on top. And that's it. That's how you transplant. Make sure you have a good potting soil with good drainage. Always, always drainage on the bottom. And I'm going to put a stick in here to hold this pea up. And then that's it, guys. That's all you do for transplanting. I'll try to show you another one real quick. Might as well get it done. Fill your soil halfway. Spread it out to the sides. Flip your cup upside down. Hold your plant. And that's it. That's how easy it is. You don't have to be, you know, it's not really a science transplanting. Don't make it hard on yourself is what I should say. Because I used to make this so hard on myself, guys. And you know what? Plants do their thing. They are meant to fruit. They are meant to flower. They are meant to be handled. So don't worry too much. Don't be scared. Just get in there. Be a little careful. You don't break these peas. They're just super, super sensitive. Anything you're planting, just be careful. You know, you don't want to break them. You spent so much hard work getting these to this point. You don't want them broken. So once you transplant and you have your peas in your containers like this, you can put a stake in there so they start twining up that stake. And then you're going to want to start feeding. Now, what I put in my gallon jug is, I used to use a tablespoon of Bonnie, okay? Now I'm transferring to the Miracle-Gro All-Purpose Nutrients. 5 pounds for $12, guys, versus this one is, I don't know, this is ounces. This is like probably 12 ounces or something for $15, $12. So I started using this. It's the same feeding, tablespoon per gallon of water twice a week in my garden. When they get this big, I feed them once a week, and then when they start growing, like twice the size, then I'll start pounding them twice a week with the Miracle-Gro. Whenever my plants start flowering, I start hitting them with a nutrient foliage spray, which is my Dyna-Gro I was showing you guys. I was telling you how I started spraying with the Dyna-Gro nutrient spray, and this is it. It's a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of water in a sprayer. Just transfer it in a sprayer, shake it up, and this stuff is awesome for foliage. I use it once a week. It gives it feeding directly in its leaves, so it doesn't burn the leaves. It's for that. and your nutrients should say for foliage feeding. If it doesn't say for foliage and only to do it in the soil, it's going to burn the leaves, so don't use it for the leaves. It has to say foliage feeding, and it'll give you the the directions on how to do it. It's right here. So it's 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per gallon. 1/4 teaspoon is plenty of this stuff. It goes a long way. It's called Dynagrow, and it's just great for vegetative growth. And then when my plants start flowering, I feed this once a week. Let me continue with this so I don't confuse you. Once a week with my foliage feeding, and then the day after, 24 hours after, you feed on the foliage. You want to get your sprayer, just an empty sprayer with some regular water, and give them leaves a spray, or get the hose and spray them leaves down, so them salts don't build up on the leaves, because it is nutrients and you're spraying it on the leaves. So salts will build up on there. So just make sure you're washing them off. And that's it. I feed once a week with this in the foliage, twice a week with my regular nutrients in the soil, and then I add Epsom salt sometimes, maybe once a month in the sprayer for foliage, and then once every 2 weeks in the soil. That gives it magnesium. And then when it starts flowering and pushing cucumbers out, guys, like these have been getting CalMag along with everything else I told you. CalMag I've been using twice a week. It really needs it right now, twice a week. You can tell I stopped them cucumbers from rotting off, and that's why they were lacking calcium. They needed nutrients, guys. So I gave them nutrients, and I'm not getting any rot anymore. Look at that big juicy juice. I love these cucumbers when they start growing, and that's from my nutrient system that I'm using. And these are my other cucumbers. I'll just take you on over here and show you them. And they're flowering and pushing cucumbers out. You can see here's one right here. So this really is helping my cucumbers to do its thing. It's trellising up and over like I showed you I was going to do. And she's trellising up my bean cage, which is perfectly fine. And I put this one back here so this lovely darling can travel up this trellis with her. And I'm just getting tons of produce, guys. So if you haven't used these nutrients, try them out. Look at them cucumbers. I'm getting cucumbers everywhere. We're going to start getting some cukies growing nice and big. Till next time, I hope that helped you with giving your plants nutrients they need. Bye-bye.